There are various so-called hotspots of love situated within our bodies. What do I mean by hotspots? I mean these are centers in the body that are involved in creation and propagation of emotions of love, tender affection, bonding. You can broadly categorize them at three distinct sites as being the love hotspots. The one is at the faculty of the mind, which will include the centers of manas, buddhi, ahankar, chitta. The second one is at the level of gyanendriya, or the sense organs, the organs of perception of touch, smell, sight, hearing, and so forth. And the last one is karmendriya, or the organs of action, which will be anything that we perform using our extremities, or even activities required for sustaining life, such as breathing, eating, stuff like that. So these are the basic different areas where you can perform love hotspots. So let's understand in society which of these love hotspots are gradually acceptable, which are condoned, and which are encouraged for the most part. If you think about a man, when he is in his later teen years, hopefully, or 20s, and he is going through a slew of girls trying to find the perfect match, he might not be emotionally be bonding with all these women that he's coming across, but there's a lot of sparks of fire that are flying around when he is seeing these new girls around him, and there's a surge of hormones and emotions and whatnot. So there is a recruitment of the gyanendriyas, because what he's seeing, what he's smelling, what he's hopefully touching, that will recruit the karmendriyas, or the organs of action, in the form of foreplay, in the form of various sexual activities that an individual might engage in, before there is recruitment of the mental faculties, mostly in the realm of forebrain neocortex, where he's constantly reminiscing about that individual, because hey, there have not been any experiences created to reminisce about. You went in the wrong sequence to create love. So what I'm trying to get at is that there has to be, if you are looking for creation and propagation and sustenance of long-term, high-quality love, it is a very methodic process that you have to train your mental faculties to undergo in order to reap long-term benefits. So the sequence should start in the mental faculties of respect and genuine non-sexual love, platonic love. Even if the person you want to be involved in long-term relationships, the place of origin should be the place where you have a lot of respect when you see the person the first time, and you have a tender, caring feeling towards that person. If you are able to develop these feelings genuinely, that you care for the person, you want to protect that person, and you're willing to give a part of yourself for the betterment of that individual, then you have laid down the right foundation for propagating a long-term loving relationship. Now, once that has been created, and you know that you are having this unconditional love, because this is a love similar to that of a mom towards her son, any parent towards their kid, or any individual in a position of power towards someone who is less powerful, but they genuinely care about them, not for their any gains that they're getting, but because they are blueprinted and they are naturally triggered to be protecting that individual. Any person who does that has laid the foundation for strong love, and in return, reflexly, even whether he wants it or not, he will get the same or even more respect and love from the person who will be reciprocating that action. That is the way love and karma in general work. So once you have genuine good feelings and thoughts in your mind about the individual, because you never think bad about the individual, that's how you know that your mental faculties have been grounded in love. Then it's okay, especially if there is a expression of the ego or ahamkara in which we are identifying with a particular gender, to be attracted most of the times to the individuals of opposite gender, and that will involve the incorporation of attributes of sexual dimorphism, things which are distinctly different in our counterpart, compatible person's body compared to our body. So that is where the ego comes in part, and that's the mental part. So first, you started with the manas and the chitta, where you had good, genuine feelings and vibes and sense of protection and caring for that individual. And buddhi tells you that you have to protect this person and not let them get hurt or do anything wrong to them. Once you have ingrained these sequences, then you are allowing yourself to involve the ahamkara or the ego component, where you identify sexually as a man, gender identity as a male, and then you are attracted to the counter body parts or things in another individual. And it could be also their voice, the way they talk, the way they smile, things like that, which are actually creating a little bit of ripple effect in the gyanendriya or the senses. That is the second place that should be triggered. And then, of course, it will counterfeed into the ahamkara, and sometimes you will get what we call turned on, or you'll go into a rut, and then there is very quickly escalated into activities of karmendriya, which can involve foreplay and procreation and things of that nature. So we have to make sure that things like one night stand, friends with benefits, no strings attached, the problem with them is not there is meaningless, repetitive, compulsive sex involved. That is the least of the problem. The bigger problem is that we have upheavaled the structure of love in order to incorporate ourselves into any meaningful long-term relationships, because every time we are incorporating the gyanendriyas and the karmendriyas before we involve the mental faculties of manas, buddhi, chitta. And that leads to activation of ahamkara before the manas and the buddhi are activated, the delineating intellect, which will foster the effects of caring for that individual and protecting the individual against all odds and forgiving them for their naiveties. And if you are able to not disrupt this sequence, then you will be able to engage in long-term relationships. So to sum it up, my friends, in order to create long-term relationships in which you are feeling content and happy, it is important to understand there's a strategic, methodic, systematic involvement of various hotspots of love in the body. So first, when you meet the person, you should have feelings of respect and emotions of protecting the individual, and sometimes even forgiving the individual for things that you might not approve of. That happens at the centers of manas, where you have good feelings and thoughts about the individual, and the buddhi, which tells you that you want to protect the individual against all odds. Then you should allow yourself to have ahamkara, identify yourself as a male or a female, and the other individual as the opposite sex or the sex you are attracted to, and then kind of go from there to allow your sensual organs or gyanendriyas, organs of sight, vision, touch, sense of smell, all these to be involved. to kind of activate your centers of emotional rut, and then engage in activities of karmendriya. Anytime we are allowing gyanendriyas and karmendriyas to override the mental faculties of manas and delineating intellect or buddhi, we are setting ourselves up for failures and inability to involve in long-term meaningful relationships that will give us a sense of purpose in life. Hope you like this video. Please feel free to leave your comments below.